There's a new street fighter on your windowsill. The weapon is peace, the word is chill.
Hello there, gang, and welcome to another episode of Displaying Model Behaviour, the Earth's mightiest action figure video podcast. So take off your pants, crack a beer, and let's talk toys, or let's not. Let's talk movies. Let's masticate about movies. We can chew over some of these. That kind of works because it is the most wonderful time of the year. It is our year-end season where we talk about the highs, the lows, and the creamy middles of everything that happened in 2021. And this is a list of the top, well, actually no, it's not top 10 because I've only got 9 in them, I think. So this is the best to worst or worst to best list of all the superhero movies that came out in 2021. Coming in ninth place, we have Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Wow. What a movie this was. Funnily enough, there's actually a movie above this in the ranking that I think is a worse film, more turgid. But I think because this film, Venom, had so many good ingredients, yet they made something so bad, that makes it a worse film than the one that I've ranked higher, which is actually garbage, but it was also made with garbage. So what do you expect? Whereas this was one of Marvel's franchises, their biggest franchise in, outside of Spider-Man in the Spider-Man universe. There were some big caveats there. But Venom should be so good. It's not difficult. You got Tom Hardy playing Eddie Brock. Tom Hardy is a phenomenal actor, great screen presence, so good at what he does. You have Woody Harrelson playing Cletus Cassidy, not who I would have chosen, but if you're going to go for Woody Harrelson like he is, again, fantastic. If you brought some of that natural born killer's energy to the character, that would have worked really well. And you're kind of telling not a Maximum Carnage story, but you're incorporating Shriek and a few other elements. So much good stuff goes into making a rancid mud pile of a movie. First of all, the worst thing, I don't know if it was an artistic decision, I don't know if it was the director or Tom Hardy, what he wanted to do, but every time Tom Hardy and Venom are on screen, it's fingers down a chalkboard. It's so irritating. And because you've got Tom Hardy giving it all this and twitching and being like, can we not do that? Oh, hey, please, just like, I'm sweating everywhere. Oh, I'm Tom Hardy. And then when he's not doing that, all you can hear is,
I want to go and eat some brains now. Oh, Tom Hardy, why are we not eating brains? I want to go out and fight people. I don't like being here.
And it's like, oh my God, I want to kill myself. This is awful. I want this movie to end. So bad. So bad. And then you separate them, and everyone always says like, this movie is like a romantic comedy. No, it's not. It follows some of the beats of a romantic comedy, but also most romantic comedies are really bad. This movie's really bad. It just felt like it was written by an 8-year-old. It's like, and then we're going to have this, like, Venom's cool, but then the baddie is like Venom, but he's even bigger. And that's the thing. The one defining thing about Carnage is that he's not just bigger than Venom. He's more interesting than that. He can do more. He's smaller, but he's like an evil little goblin. Whereas this is just like, no, it's Venom, but bigger. Wow, way to push the boat out, guys. You really put a lot of thought into this film, and it shows. Next up, in the number 7 spot, we have Thunder Force. This movie, this, oh God. You know the cleverest thing about it? It's called Thunder Force, because that's like Thunder Thighs, because the two leads are kind of overweight. So, you used to call like an overweight person Thunder Thighs because they got big thighs, but this is Thunder Force because it sounds like it. Except we don't call people Thunder Thighs anymore because we're not allowed to make fun of people because of their personal attributes, which is lucky for me because I have plenty to choose from. But this movie, it's just awful. Like were they trying? It's Melissa McCarthy, and she can be really hit and miss. Like, sometimes she can genuinely be great. I really enjoyed her in The Heat. I thought she was excellent. But then she's making other movies like that awful Muppets ripoff thing that was just a black hole of entertainment. This is more in that area. And she's managed to somehow drag Octavia Spencer into this as well, which is, I'm watching it and I'm like, you're better than this. What are What are you doing here? And then we got Jason, I forget his name, but Arrested Development. You're good. You're good too. What are you doing? Why are you rolling around in the mud, making a garbage piece of rubbish like this? You should all be doing better. The only reason that this is above Venom in the rankings is because I'm a Marvel fan and I'm more upset that they did such a poor job with Venom. But really, either one of these movies should be confined to Room 101 so that they never bother anyone again. Next up, we have Black Widow, and this film was kind of snake bit, wasn't it? Delayed by a year. Was it going to be in cinemas? It was, it wasn't. Back and forth. By the time it finally came out, we were so far removed from Endgame and Black Widow's sacrifice and all that kind of thing. It felt like an epilogue that we didn't really need. It's a shame that this was Black Widow's last outing. At least we assume it's her last outing, because it was a bit of a damp squib, I feel. This movie, it feels so much like a Phase 2 film, not a Phase 3, Phase 4. It feels like it's out of time. And unfortunately, the plot is nothing particularly unique. I don't feel it follows all the kind of beats you would sort of expect. Taskmaster was a huge disappointment. I don't mind Taskmaster being gender swapped. That's absolutely fine. Go for your life. But the fact that it was just an uninteresting character with zero kind of personality connection to the character of Taskmaster. Literally, you had the skull mask. Like, that was it. You saw some examples of Taskmaster doing some similar moves that we've seen other heroes do before, but that wasn't ever really, like, impressed on you as an important part of the character. It just felt like such a wasted opportunity. And then Ray Winston as the uber generic villain. He was just, mustachio twirling James Bond type villain in his sky base, and that was another thing. The big CGI final fight, like, I'm not invested. I felt this was so by the numbers. We got introduced to Ilyena. I'm so bad with pronunciations. It's just Elena. Elena sounds too plain, but either way, Black Widow's sister. She's great. We're seeing her now in other projects, and that's a very welcome addition to the Marvel Universe. I'm very happy about that. But on the whole, this was kind of an inoffensive but ultimately nothing film that wasn't really the swan song that Black Widow deserved. Alright, let's move things into a happier kind of category now. Now officially, all the movies from this point on, I genuinely enjoyed to some extent, and this one I didn't expect to enjoy as much as I did, and that is Zack Snyder's Justice League. I've really disliked all the Zack Snyder DC movies. I've thought they're just turgid nonsense. So I went into this thinking, this is just going to be more. It's 4 hours? It's just going to be 4 hours of... But then I clicked. It clicked almost instantly in that first bank job scene with Wonder Woman. I realized like halfway through, or maybe when she slaps her bracelets together and blasts out half the wall, eviscerating and turning this guy in front of her into blood powder, I would imagine. That's when I realized, oh wait, this is not a serious film. It's not meant to be something that you watch and be like, what would this be like in the real world? No, that was always my mistake going in. This is not meant to be something where you're like, this could exist in a world with rational people doing sensible things. No, it's meant to be stupid. And if you go into it with that mindset, that this is a stupid film that intentionally is so pretentious that it's just bonkersly, laughably entertaining, then oh my goodness, 3.5 hours or 4 hours or however long it was, you're gonna fly by. This was a joy to watch for all its nonsense, for all the wrong reasons and the right reasons. This just works. And of course, the big sort of selling point, so many more characters get so much better backstory. You got Cyborg doing stuff, the Flash is more likable, just everything works so much better. The villain is better. You get Darkseid, you get backstories. It's so much. They've just taken what was a garbage Frankenstein's monster of a film and actually turned it into this blockbuster epic of awesome stupidity. And quite frankly, I really enjoyed it. Now, speaking of big, bold, pretentious fun, we have The Eternals. And Eternals, boy, this has been a kind of a maligned, differently rated type of movie this year. I enjoyed it. I was about to say thoroughly. I didn't thoroughly enjoy it, but I enjoyed it for what it was. It's a very similar thing that a lot of people have said. It's pretty. It's a very, very pretty movie. I watch it and the colors, children. But also everything is shot. It's outside. It feels like we're alive in a world of color, and it doesn't feel oppressive or brooding or anything like that. And so that makes it a nice kind of counterpart to Justice League, which is very somber and dark and this is much brighter, and it's got some jovial moments, and it's huge in scope, and I like that. I like it a lot. Because we're meeting a whole bunch of characters we've never met before, it's difficult to invest too much in them, I feel. But maybe I'm just a heartless cynic, maybe. But still, what we got, I enjoyed. I keep wanting to say thoroughly. Didn't thoroughly enjoy it, alright? But I did enjoy it. And the final sort of act becomes your fairly typical kind of CGI sort of high-stakes Marvel battle, which it's a little bit formulaic, but at the same time, if we didn't get that, I might have gone like, where's my formulaic Marvel battle? I like those. So still, Eternals, I don't think it necessarily deserves to spawn a whole franchise of its own, but as an extra building block in the MCU pantheon, I think it deserves its place, and it's laid some interesting groundwork, and I'd like to see how this expands throughout the rest of the MCU. ShangChi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. This was a fun romp, but that's about it. It was a theme park ride. It followed all the beats you would expect of a Marvel movie, and I think something that was a disservice to it was the fact that there was so much CGI going on that you couldn't really recognize the incredible stunt work for what it was, because you don't know if what you're watching is a stunt or if it's just a computer-generated image, and that's a real shame. I would much rather, it sounds pretentious, but actually I'm sure you can appreciate this. I would much rather watch Jackie Chan just do some amazing physical stunts with another actor and watch it knowing like, I'm actually watching this guy doing this. That's incredible. I would rather see that than see 10 billion people fighting 1,000 CGI dragons, because like none of it's real. There's no stakes to it to me, because it's just a video game cutscene that doesn't mean anything. So I feel that's a shame, and it's a real shame because I know that they were legitimate, great, talented martial arts actors in this film doing incredible stunts, but I couldn't really cotton on to any of it. And then the rest of it was a fine Marvel romp, and I enjoy a fine Marvel romp. We had the comedy relief, which actually worked really well. Great to see Ben Kingsley back as the Mandarin. That was excellent. There were some very pretty visuals, but also it's one of those films that I enjoyed, but as soon as the credits finished rolling, I was like, I don't ever need to see that again. But I'm happy that I did. The Suicide Squad. This was an interesting one because I didn't know how I felt going into it. You know, I really enjoyed James Gunn. I think he's excellent. The cast looked good, but I had a bad taste in my mouth from DC in general. You know, so you're going in there with a bit of cautiousness. I love John Cena though. He's got great comedic chops. So I thought if they focus on him, they're gonna do well. And they did do pretty well. My only problem with the film, I think, was that it just outstayed its welcome a little bit for me. You're telling like a short, snappy, fun, silly kind of tale, but it just went on a bit too long. We don't need to linger on this story as long as we are, because I'm not that invested. But what we did have was good. If they'd trimmed it a bit and made it a little bit tighter, I think it would have been hugely beneficial to the whole experience. But still, Idris Elba, fantastic. Margot Robbie, she was great. And I loved her sort of side story with the guy who kidnaps her and all that kind of thing. They took some interesting approaches and angles. I was surprised by this movie, and I was entertained as well. I was starting to glance at my phone towards the end, but that doesn't stop the fact that it entertained me for a long portion of its runtime. And the fact this is setting up for a John Cena standalone spin-off show, yeah, that's definitely a good thing. And finally, the number one superhero movie of the year, hands down or hands on the ceiling, has to be Spider-Man No Way Home. Oh my goodness. talk about a love letter to everything you love about Spider-Man. Now, I appreciate that maybe this is not sort of the technically most amazing masterpiece of a film, but for someone who's grown up over the last 25 years adoring Spider-Man, this was everything I could ever have hoped of and more. Gosh, more than 25 years. Boy, I'm getting old. But it was perfect. It was like I wrote a wish list for what I wanted to see in the film and gave it to Hasbro? And gave it to Marvel. I'm so used to talking about Hasbro. And gave it to Marvel and they were like, yeah, okay, we'll do that. And they did. And it was just joyous. Absolutely everything. All the fan service, all the little jokes, all the stuff that might make pretentious film critics go, oh, for goodness sakes, so much fan service. Yeah, I loved it. I loved every second of it. Did I want to see Green Goblin recreate the meme? Yes, I did. Did I want to see all the little stupid things that only overgrown man children are going to care about? You bet your damn bottom dollar that I do. This movie gave me everything that I wanted, more so. Like, there was stuff that I was like, oh, well, it'd be nice to, have these things, but I don't think they would do it. And then they were like, no, we're going to do it, and we're going to do it more than you were expecting. I thought that we were basically going to get Spidey versus Doctor Strange for the whole film, and then the villains and people make a cameo at the end. No, the whole film is about the other people coming in, and I'm like, this is beautiful. And the way that it ends, setting up a new status quo going forward, absolutely, I am invested for the long haul. Whatever you want to give me based off of this, I will eat it up like kibble. I think this was wonderful. It was a triumph. It was everything I could ever want in a Spider-Man movie. And folks, that was my rundown of all the superhero movies of 2021. What did you think? What were your favourite movies? What order would you put them in? Comment below, let me know. And what are you excited for next year? I did a video talking about the movies coming out in 2022. There's a lot to look forward to. So I wonder what's going to be on the list this time next year. Hopefully some really good stuff. Guys, if you like what you see here and you want to see more, then join the 6-1 Clicks by clicking the like, share and subscribe button. And if you like this nice little t-shirt that I'm wearing, you can be a part of the Model Behaviour team by picking one of these up at teespring.com. Check the link in the description below. And a big thanks to all of my Patreon supporters, without whom I would not physically have the time to make these videos. I would have to be out working in bars or on the door somewhere or doing goodness only knows what, as well as my regular 9-to-5 job. It's not like I do this full time, but still. Guys, thanks so much for watching, and until next time, keep displaying model behavior.